Now, as Congressman Quayle alluded to, our next guest, it's been rumored, may want to be the next mayor of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Anthony Weiner.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Steny. I will keep my remarks brief. I'm double parked outside, and the last thing I need is a ticket. And this is really a huge thrill for me. This is all being broadcast on C-SPAN 3, so tens of Americans will see this. You know, down at the C-SPAN, down at the CNN table, they're saying tens. What's their secret? You know, they're like, you know, this is a great opportunity for all of us to get to know each other in a less formal setting. You know, we work with each other a great deal, but we really don't get a chance to really get to know one another, and so this is a chance for me to answer a couple of the questions that you might have about me, ones that I frequently get, and there's really not a chance to talk about it. It is true, it's difficult having this name. I admit it. It is something that caused me a lot of ridicule and hardship. It is simply in my neighborhood not easy to be named Anthony. But in fairness, I did hear the last original Weiner joke in like the 5th grade. So now I embrace it. I mean, I freely embrace it. It's so much. It's part of me. It's part of the campaign slogans. I use vote for Weiner, he'll be frank. Vote for Weiner, he's on a roll. Vote for Weiner, he'll relish your vote, Steny. That's a very good one. But in fact, some of you have done some real research, which probably means none of you have. My family didn't always have this name. In fact, my great-grandfather, when he came here from Ellis Island, changed it. His name, of course, was Harold Schmuck. I also frequently get asked by many of you about my recent marriage. My beautiful wife, Huma, is here today. Those of you, go ahead, please. Those of you who covered the 2008 campaign, she was the traveling chief of staff for Secretary Clinton. Now she's the deputy chief of staff of the State Department. And she's, lovely and elegant and brilliant and widely respected throughout this town. So, obviously, opposites attract. I want to thank my colleagues who've spoken before me and those who are going to be speaking. Ben Quayle, it's great to get to know him. Now we have a Quayle in Congress, and we have a guy named Newt attacking the White House. It really is true. Republicans do recycle. It really is true. It's because there used to be... I'll tell you later. Senator Rand Paul is here. Again, I'm getting to know him. I see him on television a great deal. I work with his father. And he brings even more diversity to an institution, Congress, that is remarkably, remarkably diverse. As many of you know, we have Muslims, and we have Christians, and now we have Aqua Buddhists. And Cedric Richmond, who we heard speak, who did an excellent job, and he is a very bright star in a tiny constellation of freshman Democrats. We didn't have too many of them, and he is a terrific guy, and he really unified New Orleans around his platform of better education and health care, but I think it was his pledge to keep all his money at room temperature that won the greatest support. I think the people of New Orleans respected that. By the way, I do the Weiner jokes around here, guys, and really, like, who is Boehner fooling? What am I, like Anthony Weiner? What am I? I mean, like, who are you? Like, I'm serious, brother. Just embrace it, I mean... And I know Nancy Pelosi was supposed to be here, and I'm sorry she's not. She'll forever be my speaker. She and I are sometimes lumped together when people describe the extreme wing of the Democratic Party. But in fact, she and I hold many positions that represent the mainstream of heartland America. Like, for example, both of us believe in mandatory gay marriage. And Michelle Bachmann, I don't know if she is here. I want to welcome her. If she's not, she's probably not. She's campaigning in Iowa and organizing in that important caucus state because she's running for president. That's really all I have for that joke. And this is the first dinner in a while that Rahm Emanuel isn't here, and let's face it, I mean, we miss him, you know. I mean, who knew that what it takes to be mayor of a big city is to be a hot-tempered, arrogant, loud Jew with 9.5 fingers? Who knew? And in other news, I've taken a job at Arby's as the meat cutter. And Hillary Clinton, who I understand was originally invited to speak here today, could not make it. She's obviously got a lot going on. Just imagine spending all that time with petty tyrants. I'm glad she left the Senate. Saw that one coming, didn't you, Rand? Kind of did. Well, listen, after I've said all these thank yous, this is a day that we celebrate, of course, the media of TV and radio and all of you that go into making it. But as has been reminded several times, many of us are trying to embrace new media. And I'm following Twitter myself, and I know you might have seen recently that Time magazine naming one of the 140 top Twitterers in the country, and I'm very proud of that. And if you would, at the same time you use the hashtag that you've been given, if you can add me as a follow, I'm going to put up my profile up there. What? Tell me you've never seen a 1970s Jew fro. Come on. You know, Wolf Blitzer still wears one. Before he walks in and gets made up, that's how he looks. But, you know, I have, and I'm proud to say this, I have over 18,000 followers. And I was feeling pretty good about myself until it became clear that, in fact, I was getting confused with other famous people who were on Twitter. And so I was kind of getting the follow. Let me show you a couple of them that I think I was confused for this one. I don't know. That's Rachel from Glee. I don't see it, but it could be this one. Again, I'm not really sure. But this one I kind of do understand. This is a little bit, this predates Ben Quayle, but here, outside, clearly who people think I look like, and I'm getting a lot of followers because of it. What do I do now? I don't want that up there while I'm telling the rest of my jokes. There you go. So please follow me. I don't care who you think I am. But you know, this is not about the newest high-tech things. This is still about radio and TV. And I want to conclude by offering a little bit of advice to some of my colleagues who are here. I'm pleased to share the stage with some freshman members. And you know, I have a reputation in town for being something of a master of the person-to-person interview, and because of my calm, insightful, and my poise, the way I've added, you know, when people talk about they want more civility in politics, let's face it, they're talking about me. And so I have some tips I want to offer to my colleagues as they're doing these interviews. First is, listen carefully to the interviewer. You know, always want to communicate you care about what they say, that you respect what they have to say. Take a deep breath and then answer the question. And here, let me show you what I mean. In case they aren't.
Was she or was she not the Solicitor General of the United States?
That was not the part that I'm taking exception to, if you let me finish my thought.
I remember covering her confirmation hearing to the U.S. Supreme Court.
I'm not really sure what goes on at Fox's actually coverage, but we'll get that to another conversation.
Okay.
Specific question.
Hold on, before we go off the subject, I just want to respond.
Let me ask the question. Number two, I asked
I'm just curious. When a member was your response, we have a disagreement.
What should be, Congressman, what should be the tax rate? Congressman,
you've characterized for me.
Please.
Now, let's face it. Now, let's face it, that's some dynamite TV. You see what I'm saying? Another tip that I would give to my colleagues is one that might sound intuitive, but you really have to concentrate to make sure it happens, and that is to maintain eye contact with your interviewer or with the camera. You know, for one, it shows you're listening again, but it also shows respect, so they don't think that you're a jerk when you're done. Here, let me show you an example.
It's the highest in the world.
Yeah, what about the other
12%? The IRS gets them if they don't pay the taxes. Ask Wesley Snipes. You can't tell me the IRS isn't the enforcement arm here. It is.
No, I'll ask the question and you're not answering. Just tell me how is it fair?
Ready?
You see, it's really not that hard. And the last tip I'd like to offer is a little bit of a signature thing of mine, so I'm letting my colleagues in on a little bit of a secret. The reporters and interviewers love a little positive reinforcement when you're done with your interview. They love a little, they want to be acknowledged. They have a very hard job. They want to know that the interview went well. And so here's a little trick that I started.
Go ahead.
What's the question?
Well, you
I heard your speech.
Right,
What's the question?
I got to go, Congressman. Thank you so much for coming on. All the best
Great interview.
To you.
Aces.
Thanks so much.
Now, I just want you to know, great interview, aces, that's my trademark, so don't steal it, Paul, I'm just saying. But in conclusion, let me express my gratitude to all of you. In all seriousness, like it's been said before, you are an important part of our life, an important part of the organism that makes politics work, and I'm sure that all of us, whether we say it or not, are realizing that tonight, around the world, there's some real tests, and we're particularly sympathetic, and our heart goes out to the people of Japan. And as Richard Engels showed us in his story, we always have to remember that half a world away, there are 160,000 American men and women fighting for us in Iraq and Afghanistan and now in Libya. Let's keep them in our thoughts and our prayers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Anthony Weiner, everyone. And finally tonight, from the other side of the Capitol, we're pleased to have join us freshman Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky.